array. So what was an array? Well, array is an object that helps us to that provides us to keep multiple objects or multiple data types of the same type, of course. So we can keep a list of students, a list of integers, a list of strings or floats, and so on. And we were saying about the some function that that we can apply on the arrays. The last one was about the for each loop, and we had seen this are equal function to check whether when can we decide whether two arrays are same or not. Then, well, we'll just proceed with that. The other one is this search operation. So what is this? Well, if we have an item, if we have an array, maybe we might want to check, okay, is that list contains this item? Like, let's say that I'm keeping an array for the students in a class. And I want to check, okay, is that student in that class? Is he enrolled in that section or not? So this is we can use that in these kind of scenarios, like finding an item or searching for an item in a given list, in a given array. So how can we write a function for this? Well, of course, there are multiple ways to do it, but this is just one of it. First, access modifier, so it is private. It can be only accessed within that class. The Boolean is, so it returns a Boolean value, which means that, okay, so our question is basically for a given list, a string array, and an element, is that element in that list or not? So that's why the return value should be Boolean. It's true, it exists in that list. False, it doesn't exist in that list. And the function name is the contains. And then the first one is our string array, which contains the items. And then the other one is the the element that we are looking for, that we are searching. So how can we do it? Again, as there might be multiple ways to do it, of course, but one of them is like ignoring the Java details. How can I find that if an item exists in a list or not? Well, I can just go over all the items in that list and then check if any of them is the item that I'm looking for. That's the thing. So now this is my main algorithm. Like I should go over all the items, check if it is equal to that item I'm looking for or not. So how can I do it? Well, I can use a for each loop. So basically, for each string item in this items list, so we will go, which means that we will go over all these items in that list, and then we will keep the current item in this item variable. So item is referring to the element in my, or item in the list. And then in an if loop, if item dot equals, so we are not using double equal sign because it is string. So we keep string, so we have to use this equals. Okay, this ignore case or not. So this is, again, you might, I mean, if you, even in an exam, or if you see that kind of a question, and I didn't mention that, okay, whether you should ignore the cases or not, then it means that any of them is fine. Okay, you can either say equals or equals ignore case. So in this case, we are ignoring the cases, whether they are uppercase or lowercase, and now we check if it is same. If any of this element is same, then I could immediately return true because I know that, okay, I found it, so I can return true. I don't need to go check other items. But if it is not, well, I will not do it. I will not return anything. I will just go and check the other item. And within that for loop, if I cannot detect, if I couldn't find it, which means that I wouldn't be able to return true. So I ended up with the for loop, which means that if I'm here, it means that I couldn't find it. That's why I'm returning false. Is that clear? And when we are creating, we can also keep objects, array of within an array. Let me take it in do not disturb mode. Yeah. So here is an example. Let's say that we already defined a book class, okay? And then we want to create a book array. Maybe this is like we will use for a library object. So we need an array of books. So that's same notation. Our class name is book. And then for the array list, we use this square brackets. And then we still need to define that, okay, we will keep only 2 items. But then, how will I fill it? Like, this part is important, and sometimes some people might confuse it. So I first need to create a book class, a book object. Like, book B is a new book, and then we set its title. So the details of, you can assume that we have already defined this set title function and so on. But then, when I say book 0 is equal to B, then I mean that, okay, the first item of this array will be this book item. And then for the other one, now this part is important. I'm creating another one. How do I understand that it is another one? By using this new keyword. So I'm allocating another space in my memory, and then I'm creating this book C object, and then I'm putting it here. So now I filled it. Then how can I proceed over that? Well, again, in an either for each loop, or I can just use this standard for loop in which starting from 0 to books.length, which gives me the number of items in that list. So in this case, it will be 2. So I will iterate over them. And then at each iteration, so books I gives me a book object. So this is a book object. That's why I can now call the functions of book class, assuming that it has this get title function. So I can call it, I can treat it, this books I as a book object, and then I can call its functions. And there's also another way to do it. Instead of going with the standard for loop, you can also go with a for each loop, in which for each book temp in books list, we will print the title. So basically, this and this for loop, they are doing exactly the same things. I mean, you can choose any of it. Both are same. Shall I proceed? All right. There's also another class that Java provides until this java.util package, which is arrays class. So note that this is plural. There is an S at the end. So this is a class name, arrays class. So basically what it does is it provides many static methods, which means that we don't need to create a new arrays object to access it. We can just immediately use it. And for common array manipulation. So what are those? Well, we can sort arrays. We can binary search. I will explain what it is in the following slides. Or we can check equals method, like 2 arrays. Are they equals or not? Are they equal or not? Or we can, with the fill function, which is basically it will place values into an array. So some basic operations: sorting, searching an item, checking those arrays are same or not, and so on. And they are overloaded with some primitive type arrays. So for an integer array, for a string array, for a float array, or you might think it in this way. And there's also another function, array copy, but this comes from the system class, not from the arrays class. And it has this array copy. Basically, it copies content of one array into another. So these are the very common operations actually we do when we are dealing with arrays. So you don't need to re-implement many of these things. So you can just use these functions in your program. Yes, please.
It could be the content or same reference.
It says content of one array to another.
It will be new list.
It should be, yeah. It should be, as long as I know. Yeah, we'll see an example here, okay? So this is just an example of these. So assuming that we have an array A, okay, if we say arrays.sort A, basically it will sort the array based on in ascending order. So the numbers will keep increasing in ascending order, in an increasing order. Or we can, it has this, again, very overloaded functions. Like, again, we have this sort function, but it has this, the one that takes 3 parameter version, which basically sorts only the range of this, starting from 4 to 10, sort that part of an array. Well, you might say, okay, should I memorize all of these? Well, let me relax you. No, you don't. So if I ask you in the quiz or on the midterm, I will already provide that there are such and such methods that takes these and that parameters and it does this. You will see actually an example in quiz 2 about this. But I believe even though you don't need to memorize all the details of these functions, it is all important that you should be aware of there might be such a method. Why is it important? Well, you can also implement this sort function by yourself. But if you are aware that, okay, I don't remember the function name, I don't remember its parameters, but there should be a function that would do this sorting operation. If you have only that knowledge, that's enough. Then you can always Google it and find that and then use it. But if you are not even aware of that, okay, there are some functions like this, then what you have to do is you have to implement it by yourself, which will take long time and so on and so on. So that's why actually I'll just go over that list. So arrays.fill, basically it takes an array and then fills all the elements with the value of whatever we have given. In this case it is 5. Or again, it's an overloaded function. Basically, if it takes 4 parameters, the first one is the array, and then the second and the third one is this range from index 7 to 11. It fill it with the fourth parameter, which is in this case it is 33. And here we have this copy of, which means now it again takes 2 parameters, produces an array, okay, and then returns an array, basically in which it contains the first 10 items in this example. So basically it just takes a portion of the array and then it can copy that. What would happen if I put here a and then a dot length? So as a second parameter, instead of saying 10, if I set a dot length, what would it be? Yeah, full array. So it will basically take a copy of the whole array, not only the first 10. And some more details, like if you say 20, but maybe there are no 20 items in that list. There's no 20 items. Then what will happen is that the rest of them will be basically 0. So let's say that this array A has 5 items. So it will copy the 5 of it. And then for the remaining 15, it will just put zeros. And another one, copy of range. Basically, it will copy the items starting from index 5 to 10, and then return it as a new integer. This equals function, basically, it takes 2 arrays and then check whether they're true or not. Equality of the arrays, elements equality. So this is important. So it is basically, we'll check the items, are they equal or not? And then this is the system array copy. So these were coming from this arrays class, but this is coming from the system.array copy. So basically, copy elements from A and copy 4 items starting from index 2 of A, copy it to the array B starting from index 5. And if I do this, system.array copy A0, B0, A.length, what it means is, yeah, take all the items of A, because we start from 0, go to the end, and then copy it to the B starting from 0, which means that we take all the items of A and put it in B. Shall I proceed?
So this is the array class we're importing here.
Arrays class, yes. So we have to import for this arrays class. Yeah, we have to import java.util.arrays. And also for the system is also another library. Yeah.
Okay, so when we declare int square brackets a, for example, this array, is it a primitive array? Is that why does it have methods? What are we using when we declare int 2 brackets a?
That's a good one.
Importing a class called arrays. What is that?
So we have this int array, for instance. So this int array, basically it is an object. How do I know it? Well, if I say a dot length, so it has an attribute actually. It has a length attribute, or it has this equals function. So it is actually an object as an array. As an array. So it's an array that takes primitive data type. This arrays is another class.
Okay.
So, and then it, as if you are using any, it will already show you all these functions that you can use. Or like there's a very long list. Like even in our long slide, we didn't cover actually all of them. You can just, again, I just want to reiterate that also. Seriously, you don't have to memorize it. Like, do I know all of them? No, absolutely not. Because as you can see, like, there are too many functions. And knowing these will not make you a better programmer. But if you are aware that, okay, there are some functions that I can use, Java already provides, then yeah, it will make you, that awareness will make you a better programmer, because then you can just check for it, read this API, and then use it. All right, it's.
Can we import Java util stop instead of importing array and scanner?
Yeah, you can use that wild character start, and then yes, it is also possible. Okay, we have in 1 minute. I would like to also go this slide, and then we will stop. So the other one is the binary search. So what is binary search? Binary search is basically looking for an item in a list, but it should be sorted. If it is not sorted, binary search will not work. It will give you a wrong result. Okay. So basically, it is saying that, okay, check for this item 26 in this array A, and then it will give you a search index. If it is less than 0, it means that it couldn't find. But if it is greater than 0, it means it will give you the index of that item in that array. But this is again important. Binary search only and only works if the array is sorted. So if you have items in ascending order, you can use it. But if you have items in random order, like 1, 3, 2, 5, -1, and so on and so, then it will not work. It will give you an incorrect result. And this is again an overloaded version. Basically, it search for X in array A, but in only a portion of A, which is from index 5 to 10. It will check, and again, if it is less than 0, it means that it is not found. If it is greater than 0, equal to or greater than 0, then it will return. It means that it exists in that array, and it will be in that index. All right, it's 2:21, so I would like to stop here and take any questions if you have regarding the quiz. Okay.